Alright, as promised, I would do a video of the frozen food feeder. So this is the Coolatron, and I'll kind of give you a tour of the three tanks. So this is the fried tank, and you'll get to see how the feeder feeds this particular feeding station underwater to the, I guess, flow pump in the tank. The second tank is here, and you'll see more about that as far as the feeder lines through the dosing pump. This is a do-it-yourself doser, but obviously you can do an off-the-shelf version. Now, those two fish are actually waiting for their food to come along that tube and underwater. And then there's another tank that runs off of this really long line, and it follows along here. Turn on the light to get a better lighting here. Through this line and down to the return pump. Okay, so let's back up and let's open it up. So, as seen in the write-up, that's the feeder. I got a cup of cold packs in here to keep it cool for the start. Once they warm up and basically the cooler gets going, I could take these out. They basically reach the same temperature as the cooler. So here's the distribution container with the 4 dosing lines that feed the tank. There's the concentrate bottle with the food sitting on the bottom. Okay, that tube there will add the concentrate to the distribution container, and there the water bottle that is controlled by the other external doser, and it will bring water into here. So I can actually control this dosing pump because it's my own do-it-yourself dosing pump, and I can program and run things manually. So what I'm going to show is here, that's your display. I can individually control the kitchen tank feed, the SPS tank feed. I could feed the frag tank. That's the water dosing pump. So those kitchen first tank, second tank, third tank, fourth tank, water pump, and inside is the concentrate pump. And I also, because this is a complex doser I built, I could actually turn on and off the magnetic stir, which runs on this outlet here. So let's give it a whirl. So the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to add concentrate. Alright, this is the auto mode. It's going to do the smallest feeding, smallest tank, and the first step you're going to see is the magnetic stir will stir up the concentrate, and there we go. And right after the stir, it's going to add a little bit of concentrate to the distribution, then followed by the dilution from the water container, and as you can see, it's just kind of loosening up all the concentrate, getting it moved around, but it does settle to the bottom. And now it's going to, now this part I have is a bit of reverse on the dosing pump, but I have a custom doser. So now it's starting, to feed through the system, and it's on its way to the smallest tank. Now the fish are already anticipating the food coming, and it's slowly all draining. And as you can see, the fish, they're all getting excited. The food has started to arrive. But now we're going to enter the next phase, which is to clean out the rest of the food. Now all the food hasn't made it to the tank because we're still to the pre-feed stage and we haven't done the final push. And before we do that, it's going to do what I do is actually have 2 rinses. This is a little bit of a rinse to get that food loosened up again, and this time you get to see how the food actually goes and gets drained, and most of it's taken out. Now because I have a 4-tank feeder, those lines I have to shorten them a bit because it does catch some of the food. But those fish are being fed right now, and you can see the bubbling. And that's basically stopped because we go back here, and now we're going for the final rinse. And it does get all those particles of brine shrimp and misses loosened up again. And actually, that's why we have a funnel container, because it does draw everything in. Not perfect each time, but as you go through the larger feedings, it does fill up with more water. And that fish tank has been fed. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole sequence again, but now we're going to see the second tank starting its feed cycle. And actually, this is the final rinse. I have a custom doser, so I actually have, I think, 3 rinses, and this is the big one for the final push, and making sure the container itself is rinsed off at the highest level the concentrate reached, and the dosing lines are going to be purged with water. And this time you're going to see the dosing being a bit longer, as I described in the article, because when it runs out of water, it's going to continue to dose and purge the line with air, leaving no food, no water in the line till it's empty and dry. So now the fish are getting fed the final amount. And that's the water coming in there because it's not bubbling. You can see kind of the food showing up. But at the end, it will be air. Oh, we started the next feeding. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but this is the frag tank, so it's also a small feed. Gives you an idea how the concentrate needs to be stirred, because if you're always picking up off the bottom, the extra water that's in there won't be consumed as much, and you'll be basically feeding water at the end of the feed cycle in the 4th or 5th day. Again, that's the dosing container for the water. That's the concentrate pump. The pump for the water is actually, doesn't have to be chilled or cool. It's this one here on the external tank. And once again, 1, 2, 3, 4 feeder pumps. That's it.